Hello, welcome once again to Pale Blooms and Beyond. Thank you for joining us today. If you do like the programming you see here and the musicians and artists I visit with, please be sure and hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Matt Russell is an English bassist who was a member of the indie rock band Sudden Afternoon in the mid to late 80s. The band recorded on Midnight Music and issued the album Dancing Shadows in 1985 and a couple of 12-inch singles in 85 and 86. The lineup included Sonner Houloussi, vocals, Cliff Howard guitars, Matt on bass and CMI, Rob Warner, synths and CMI, and Len Sach on drums. Very little is known or published on the web about the band, so I'm hoping Matt can shed some light on the history of the band today. Matt would also play in the band's side project, The Beyond, an ambient electronic group. In 1987, he would find himself engineering The Mirror Test, an album by fellow midnight music band Sad Lovers and Giants. Mr. Russell would also record in the trio Mesmerise with Alquimia and Mark Jenkins. Today, my guest is a member of the Outbursts, playing live as often as possible. Well, welcome, Matt.
Hi. Hello. This is a surprise, I must admit.
All right, a pleasant surprise, I hope.
Yeah. No, I was when I saw the email, yes, no, that is me. Yeah, no, I did play in Sudden Afternoon all those years ago. The band that nobody was ever interested in at the
Did you
time.
have to pinch yourself or
I
something?
did really, yeah. Yeah, no, that's me.
It's
Yeah, I'm
it's
afraid.
almost like a past life, isn't it? It's like
Well, it was
a different.
40 years ago.
Right,
I
right.
mean,
Well, well, take us back. Where were you
it's
born?
I was born in East London, born in Hackney, a sort of a proper working class area of East London. He says
Oh,
in a deep voice.
yeah.
And yeah, lived in Leighton, Leytonstone, Walthamstow, just all around North East London. And in fact, I'm still living in North East London. I haven't really moved that far.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I met Bob, keyboard player, Rob Warner. I met him through friends, through
Oh,
sort of mutual friends who used to sort of go around
okay.
to
Well,
one
go,
particular guy's
go.
flat and spend far too much time doing very little.
Well, early on, do you remember, was there music in the household when you were young?
Growing up, no, not really. Dad liked Dad liked a bit of jazz. I mean, he swore that he saw Gene Krupa play drums during the war because Dad was in the Navy during the war, did North Atlantic convoys backwards and
Oh,
forwards. And
is
so
that
we
right?
find ourselves in New York and along the eastern seaboard.
Yeah.
And he swore he saw Gene Krupa.
Okay.
Um, and he liked sort of, yeah, Nat King Cole and a bit of sort of jazz. Mum liked Gilbert and Sullivan, sort of very English operetta
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff. There weren't many. I had an older brother, 12 years older than me, who introduced me to, that we shared a bedroom, so I was sort of subjected to early Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and all those fill your
Yeah.
head with rock and Rock
Right.
Machine turn you on compilations and Alice's Restaurant by Arlo
Oh.
Guthrie. Yeah, I kind of knew all the words to Walk on the Wild Side without having any idea what it was about at all.
Would,
And
would he pass down singles and albums to you?
he was very much an album man, and but he didn't buy that many.
Yeah.
I think his favourite band was the Bonzo Dog Doodah band,
Oh,
which was,
is that right?
that's
Is
fine.
it?
I mean,
They,
yeah, still quite fond of
they,
them.
right.
And the only things I really remember my parents having that was anything near contemporary was Bridge Over Troubled Water and the Imagine single by John Lennon that
Oh,
Mum bought,
yeah.
although she was vehemently anti-swearing, she bought it for the B-side, which is a
Oh,
much better song. Working
yeah.
Class Hero is a fine, fine
Right,
song.
right. Oh, that's one of my
Um,
favorites. Yeah.
and yeah,
Yes, it
so
is.
there was the sort of bitterness in that I think Mum approved of.
Yes. Yes.
So my mum was a portrait painter.
I think my favorite John Lennon is Number Nine Dream. Thanks, but that's my favorite.
Yeah,
That's just beautiful. That's just the chorus on that and everything.
yeah.
Wow. Well,
I mean, it's odd. I mean, I kind of grew up sort of almost dismissing the Beatles
yeah,
because
right.
they were old,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I grew up sort of mid 70s, so I was listening to sort of heavy rock and hard rock,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so
Yeah,
you know,
I'm the same way. I mean, they were so hugely popular. I had this rebellious streak in me. It's well, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Somebody that popular. I was the same way with the Stones. I was like,
yeah,
no, no, I want to discover somebody else that's not so big. But then as I grew older, it seeped in, and eventually it's like,
absolutely.
well, you can't deny the talent there.
No, no. I mean, it was only recently that I admitted on Facebook that I listened to Roy Harper and actually quite liked it.
Oh yeah,
After years of going,
right,
fuck Roy Harper, fucking
right,
hell,
right.
hate Roy Harper. It's terrible, dirgy stuff. I
Yeah,
listened to something and went,
yeah,
bugger, this is really quite nice.
yeah,
This is embarrassing.
yes,
So
yeah.
I had to apologise to the guy who I was always sort of moaning to about it. So my friend Robin, I went, "Look, really sorry, Robin, but um,
I think a
you
lot of
know,
that has to do with the maturing, your
I
taste
think
in
so. Yeah, it just
music.
took me longer to mature than the rest of the rest of my friends, really. Yeah.
Right. What was Another Day? Another Day. That's one of his tracks, I believe.
You've got me
Yeah.
there.
That This Mortal Coil, did a cover of.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I
That,
mean,
yeah,
the only thing of his I knew was sort of was One of These Days in England
yeah, yeah.
and What for Gap.
Right, right.
Played a grease and a load of crap. That's the only thing I knew about that, really. But yeah, One of These Days in England. I had. But yeah,
Yes, it is Another Day.
I did. I need to investigate more, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, some nice material there. Well, was the bass the first instrument you learned to play?
I get well, almost. I mean, I was taught classic. I mean, there was a classical guitar at home. No, Dad could play one tune, and it was sort of left up against the sort of side. And I took classical guitar lessons. This sounds way more pretentious than it ever was. When I was about 10, I used to take classical guitar lessons by this gr at lunchtime at school, and it was a grumpy old man. He used to tell me I was playing with the wrong finger, and he taught me how to sort of play, like proper classical stuff, that kind of style. And I just wanted to be in Slade or T-Rex or I didn't want that.
Yeah.
So I gave that up, and then I was quite came quite late. I was sort of about 18 or so. I was sitting around with some friends, and there was an acoustic guitar sitting there, and I sort of started sort of going, "Oh, I vaguely remember some chords." And then I got bought, and I bought an acoustic off a friend who was sort of upgrading, and played that for a while, but wasn't any good at it. And the gang of friends that I had, everyone was a guitarist, it seemed like. So I was never going to be, never be any good. And there was only one bass player, this
Okay.
friend Bob, who was very, very good, who was really into Rush and all the kind of, technical sort of prog stuff. And then somebody in the pub was selling a K Precision bass for for a fiver. It had £5. It had three strings on it. And I said, yeah, I'll have it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I sort of put a set of strings on it, and
Yeah.
then didn't play it because you can't play bass on your own. It's just it's intrinsically a silly instrument. You have to play with other people,
Yeah, here's a
and
solo album just
yeah,
about the bass.
exactly. Some
Right,
sort of Spinal Tap Jazz Odyssey thing. No.
right, right.
Um, and then a friend of mine said, "Oh, there's this guy Sonner. He's got a band, and they're looking for a bass player." And they said, "You've got one?" And I said, "Yes, I've got one.
Yeah,
I'm not a bass player, but I've got one."
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I went along to rehearsals. That's where I met Sonner, and we became a band called the Inside Minds,
Oh, okay, okay. So
who
that was the
did
first band, the first
first
band.
first first band, and then suddenly I
Okay,
had people to play with, and so I could start learning how to play the damn thing.
okay.
And we were a sort of a garage band, really.
Yeah,
We do sort of 60s covers,
okay.
but do them far too fast
Oh,
because it was
yeah,
1981, I suppose.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, we used to do House of the Rising Sun, but it took 2 minutes 14 to get through it. We just bang through it.
yeah.
Sonic could just about keep up. And we do Louie Louie and Gloria and Oh, Don't You Lie to Me,
Yeah,
and
that's
Raw
wild. That's
Power, and do a
that,
bit of sort of Stooges, do a bit of
that's
do.
wild. I just talked to my last interview. This is so
Mm,
wild, these connections.
mm,
Don Caverhill. He
hmm
was Don Gallucci back then. He played the keyboards in the Kingsmen, Louie Louie.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. yeah. Somebody said, "Wow, he's still around." Well, he was like a
It- yeah,
teenager young when he joined the band. So
well, he must have
yeah,
been.
yeah, he was young, but yeah, we just talked. That was my latest interview. Yeah, so
Excellent. No,
Louie,
excellent.
Louie,
Louis
Louie.
Louis.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
yeah, it was the first song I learned to play.
Is that right?
Because it's the
Wow.
first song everyone learns to play.
Yeah,
It's just A and D and E, and just that's it. Oh,
yeah.
I can
Then
play a song.
then you're
Brilliant.
gone.
Yeah, and that does that all the way through.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Then you're gone. Then you're
Yeah,
off. Then you're off.
yeah. No, that was
Well,
great.
what were some other musical influences for you, bands
Well, I was, yeah. I mean, like, sort of came up through glam in the mid
yeah,
'70s when I was sort of early teenager. Then discovered the Who. Um, that was my fault, really. I kind of we did a drama at school, the middle. I guess it must be middle school. We were 13 or so.
yeah,
We were sort of exploring being deaf, dumb, and blind, as opposed to drama where you stand there and be a tree. The teacher was a bit of a hippie, so it was an excuse for us all to sit and listen to Tommy. So we
yeah,
sat and listened to Tommy for 3 lessons. It's better than doing any work. It was great. And then we had a school trip to see the film.
yeah.
So
Oh,
in the
wow.
evening, so up to the West End when I was 13 with the teachers.
Yeah.
And we saw it in Quintaphonic,
Oh,
up in Leicester Square at the West End.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I went, fucking hell, what's
Yeah.
this? This isn't Gilbert and Sullivan. This is odd. Yeah. And then so I bought Tommy. Then I bought Live at Leeds
Yeah.
because, yeah. And strangely, with Live at Leeds, it's one of these things. My brother, being much older than me, for my Christmas or birthday, he gave me a record player. It was one of these old record players that was like a wooden box with a lid, with sort
Yeah.
of 2 knobs on the volume at the front. And he said, well, it was mono. So he said, I only wired up one half of the stylus because there wasn't any need. So
Yeah.
I was playing Live at Leeds on this,
Yeah.
thinking it sounded great. And I got used to it. And I was like, this is great. And then when we bought something that was stereo, I put it on and went, oh my God, what's that over there? Because the mix of the
Right.
album is drums and vocals down the middle,
Yeah.
John
Yeah.
Entwistle one side, Pete Townsend the other, and all I
Yeah.
got was
Yeah.
John Entwistle's end. I
Right.
just heard John Entwistle's half of Live at
Yeah.
Leeds
Yeah.
for 2 years.
Right.
Suddenly found this guitar that came out, and it was like, what's
Yeah.
that?
Right.
But yeah, so it was the Who, and then Deep Purple and Uriah Heep, and this is all pre-punk, so
Yeah.
I've got an excuse.
Yeah.
Um,
You do.
and then quickly, I lived in northeast London in Leighton, Walthamstow borders, and there was a record shop in Walthamstow called Small Wonder, who later on released The Cure's first single, Bauhaus's first single, Crass's first album. But when I went in there, I went in there to buy secondhand Black Sabbath albums and some reggae
Yeah. Yeah.
because reggae had always been a part of. I'd always kind of listened to reggae.
Yeah. Oh,
And
man.
got to know the hippie guy who ran the shop really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one day I went in there and he came and he went, "Here, come over, listen to this." I went, "What's that?" He went, "Listen to this," and it was Blitzkrieg Bop.
Oh,
And
right. Right.
I stood there open mouthed, going, "I want
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I need this." Yeah.
Yeah.
And from then
That,
on, it was
that's,
just
I, I miss so I miss those record shops. Yeah. I miss them.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they were an education.
They were.
Because they got to know you.
Yeah.
You
Right.
knew the people there knew what you were into, and so
Right.
they could steer you in sort of
That's
in the ways that they thought you'd be
yeah.
interested in,
There,
and also that you'd
there
spend money.
there was
You
a
know.
couple here that stocked a lot of imports, and
Mm,
they got to know me real well. I got to know,
yeah, absolutely.
and well, listen to like you said, listen to this. They would play them, and a lot of times I would just from the cover, I would buy an album based on the cover.
Oh God, yeah. I've
Yeah.
bought so many albums just by what they look like.
Right, right.
Sometimes it's a great find.
Yeah,
Sometimes it gets
sometimes,
put at
yeah.
the back, and it's like, oh well, yeah, it looks okay. Put it at the
Yeah,
back.
yeah. Well, how about your first live show that you attended? Proper gig.
First proper gig was Deep Purple in 1976, April '76 at
Yeah,
Wembley.
Yeah.
Not Wembley Stadium, but it was what they called Empire Pool. So
Yeah.
it's about a 10,000 seater.
Wow.
Um,
Never got to
and
see
we
it.
were at one end, and Deep Purple were right down the other end. And of
Yeah.
course, this was before big monitors and big screens, so they
Yeah.
really were. Hang on,
Right.
who's that? It
Yeah.
could have been any of them, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember coming away going, wasn't that good?
Yeah.
I was expecting to be better. I mean,
Yeah.
I now know why it wasn't very good. It's because they were just at the end of just imploding and just becoming just a complete, sort of
Yeah.
non-band. But I
Right.
saw them, and then a month later, I saw Uriah Heep, and I
Wow.
thought, well, that's better.
Yeah.
But also, it was at Wembley.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine, I don't know, I must have seen some other gigs, but the next one I remember was seeing AC/DC in
Okay.
'76
Yeah.
at Hammersmith Odeon. And that
Um,
was because a friend of
with,
mine's older brother had high voltage. Don't know why he
yeah.
had it.
With Bon Scott.
Oh God, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
High Voltage was the only album out over here.
I'm sorry.
So it was
He's
76.
he's the only singer for me for
Oh
AC/DC.
God, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the new boy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No, it's not.
Not interested at all.
I'm not either. I'm not
I
either.
I I even don't like Back in Black.
No. No,
I
I
mean,
don't.
people go, "Oh, it's a classic album." No, it's
No.
not. You listen to
No.
it now,
No,
and the
it's not.
lyrics are trite and schoolboy and
Right.
smutty for the sake of it,
Right.
without the humour.
Exactly. I feel the same way. I don't.
Bon Scott's lyrics were smutty, yes,
Yeah.
massively smutty,
Yeah. And he
but
was
they
he
were
was
with a
he was
tongue in
natural.
cheek and a glint
Right.
in the eye, and was just
His
he was just
vocals
so much
his
cooler.
vocals to me were just natural, you know.
Yeah,
But so with Brian, it seems he's trying to sound
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah.
These poor
Yeah.
people that are seeing the current tour going, "Oh,
Yeah.
Angus is as good as he ever was."
Yeah.
No, he's not.
No, no, no.
No, he's
Well,
not. I,
well,
I,
well,
I mean, I must have seen him, I don't know, 8, 9 times with Bon
wow.
Scott.
Did
I saw him a
you?
lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, every chance I had.
Oh, wow.
Um, I saw them and Motorhead were the two
Yeah.
main
Yeah.
bands
My
when I was sort of 16, 17.
I think one of my favorites is the live version of Whole Lotta Rosie.
Yeah,
That's yeah, wow. What a track.
yeah.
What a track. Well,
My yeah,
go
my
ahead.
favorite recording of theirs is it's on the box set, and it's
Oh,
the live at Atlantic Studios
oh,
from
okay.
78, I think it is. It's live at Atlantic Studios in the States. It's just they're playing in front of the road crew and a couple of people from the radio station, and that's it. And they
Yeah.
just bang through the set, and it's
Yeah.
just glorious.
Yeah.
It's just lovely. They had such a swagger about them. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Um,
Well, we'll pick up the story. The band that you and Sonner were in
mm,
before Sudden Afternoon. Yeah.
yeah, the Inside Minds. It was just a four-piece. The guitarist was liked a sort of like a sort of a clean guitar sound. Sort of didn't want to use overdrive. Came very much from the sort of '60s sort of twangy side. Um, I mean, we tried doing a cover of "Baby Please Don't Go," them
Okay.
song,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and at one point, Sonner stopped us and said, "I know what's wrong with this." He said, "What's that?" He said, "The guitarist is trying to do the original version, Matt, and you're trying to play the Ted Nugent version." Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, no, I am. And it was never gonna. The two versions were never gonna meld.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
the only version I knew of it was on Double Live Gonzo or something
Oh
from
yeah, yeah.
'78, and it was just that was the end. That was Baby Please Don't Go, wasn't it? I didn't know it was an.
Yeah. Oh God, cat scratch
Um,
fever. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's another person who I saw him in '77.
Oh, did you? Okay. Nah, never got to
Um,
see him. Yeah.
I saw
I would
two.
have loved to have seen Uriah Heep. Yeah, that's one I wish I could have seen. Never saw them.
Yeah, no, I saw him a couple of times, but the first time they were good.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, no, Ted he did two gigs at Hammersmith Odeon for the World Wildlife Fund, and
oh,
in his sort of in his logic, I remember him seeing an interview with him.
we'll talk
Uh,
about the formation of Sudden Afternoon. How did you pull in Cliff and Rob
well,
and Len as well? Lynn. Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit of a longer story than that, really. So Cliff and Sonner knew each other for
Okay.
years beforehand, and had been in bands throughout the sort of '70s and '80s. I knew Bob through a mutual friend. Bob had a sort of a couple of synths and a drum machine and a mixing desk. So I used to go around there rather than go to work and spend all day playing with his synths and take my bass. And we used to do sort of rudimentary recordings and stuff. We were just chilling out really. Um, I was in the Inside Minds with Sonner. It wasn't really going anywhere. We did 2 gigs in 18 months. We
Yeah.
weren't getting anywhere. No one was really interested in us. We weren't getting on really as a band. And then Cliff had a publishing deal and he needed to do a demo of a song called Sheep's Head Bay, which is on
Uh-huh.
the album.
Yeah.
Um, and so Sonner said, well, do you think you could, Bob's got some recording gear. Do you think we could do it there? So yeah. So we came round to my mum and dad's place, set up in my bedroom, and did a couple of weeks, and we worked on that song and did a demo. Most sort of the sort of simplest format was we had a 6-track mixing desk, so we'd all go live into the mixing desk into a cassette. We'd take that cassette out, put it in another cassette machine, put that through 2 channels, and then overdub onto the first cassette machine. Of
Yeah.
course, the
Yeah.
2 cassette machines didn't run at the same speed, so you had to retune. But that
Yeah.
was it, and that was a demo. And so we did that, and then said, "Well, that was quite fun. Do you fancy doing some more?" We went, "Yeah, yeah, okay, let's do some more." So every week we would sort of everyone would turn up round at my mum and dad's, um, and we'd write a new song.
Yeah.
And then the next week we'd write another song, and the next weekend we'd write another song. And some were good, and
Yeah.
some weren't. Um, and
How'd your
then
how'd your parents feel about that? How'd
they were
they?
very laid back about it, actually. They didn't mind the noise or the unusual smells coming out from under the floor, under the door. Um,
You didn't put a towel under there, did
no, oh no, we didn't think about that. If only we'd been that organised.
you? That was a
We used to keep
trick
the
trick.
window open, but
That's a
then
trick I learned. Yeah, back in college. Yeah.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
And then we did a song. For some reason we did a session on a Sunday afternoon. And it was in the summer, and we were sort of working on something that wasn't really going anywhere. And then I got called down for Sunday lunch. So I said, sorry guys, I've got to go down. So I was sitting having Sunday lunch with half an ear what was going on in my bedroom. Going, sounds all right. I got back up to my bedroom after having lunch, and they said, well, we've got this thing. And we don't, and it was this sort of meandering thing. And I said, well, that doesn't need bass at all. That's just really nice. So we stuck 2 mics out of the window to catch the traffic going past and the bird song and some bird song in London. It's not that much, but a bit echo on full on the mics outside. Um, and I used to rush round and flush the toilet to get a water to get water sounds coming down through the pipe
Is
next to them where the mics were. And that was it. Oh, when I played cymbals, we hung some cymbals up in a cupboard somewhere. I had a pair of horrible old hi-hats. Got a bit of rope and bashed those and moved mics like that. And we did this song, and it was about 9 minutes long. It was called Sea of Life, and it wasn't really, didn't really think anything of it. Sonner took it, was in the record shop, Midnight Records, which was a record shop in North London, run by Nick and Steve. Nick kind of ran the record label bit, and Steve ran the shop. And he played it to Steve, and Steve went, "This is really good."
Yeah.
Play it to Nick, and Nick heard it, and Nick was a massive Grateful Dead fan. Um, Apparently was on toured. I don't know. He used to run a magazine called Dark Star, sort of fanzine, and went over to the States and was on a West Coast tour of some at some point early on, um, with the Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane.
Wow.
And he was a proper hippie. I mean, proper
Yeah.
old school hippie.
Yeah.
And he heard Sea of Life and went, "This is really good. This is like the Doors.
Yeah.
It's like the end." Yeah.
Yeah. The end. The end. Yeah.
And both Bob and I went, "What?
Yeah. What are you talking about?
What?" Sonner, who knew it, went, doesn't really, but okay."
Yeah.
And then when we worked out what it was, we went, "Oh, what, that thing in Apocalypse Now? Oh, that. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why didn't you say apocalypse
Yeah,
now?
why didn't you say the thing at the beginning of Apocalypse Now? I want to know what you meant." Um, and he said, "Well, ooh, would you like a record deal?" And we all just went,
Wow.
"Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
I mean, we were completely, we did everything back to front.
Yeah.
We had a record deal before we'd done a gig. we were just based in my bedroom at mum and dad's.
Right.
We had a pile of songs that we'd forgotten how to play because we'd written another one the following day, and we never thought, or the following week, we never thought about playing those old songs again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we came to sort of rehearsing for recording the album, we had to sort of learn the songs that we'd
Right.
written
Right.
again. What
Yeah.
was it I played? I can't remember.
Right. That's
Oh shit.
that demo tape with 9 tracks. Four of them would appear on the album, on the first album.
Mm,
Yeah, I went back and looked at that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's very odd.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Mhm.
and looking back on it, what made the band interesting for me was the balance between Bob and I and Sonner and Cliff, where Sonner and Cliff were sort of the rockier side, and Bob particularly, and I kind of straddled both sort of camps, I guess, was sort of more electronic. Bob was really into early orchestral maneuvers in the dark, early Human League, all the krautrock, all the German Klaus Schulze, Tangerine Dream,
Yes. Yes.
all the
I like.
obscure sort of German electronic stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
and which I listened to as well. And so there was the balance between the two halves, which actually made it quite interesting. What happened when recording the album was it sort of went more towards the rock side and less towards the experimental side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although we did end up, I remember Rob saying to Nick at the first meeting, he said, he said, well, he said, I don't mind signing. He said, but I want to use a Fairlight for the album. And everyone went, really? I mean, the Fairlight at the time, I think it
Yeah.
was £29,000 to buy a Fairlight.
Right.
We went, how the hell are we going to do that?
Yeah.
And
I
so
heard.
Nick went, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, okay, because he never said no to that kind of thing. We went, yeah, that's fine.
Right.
Um, and so we used, and so when it came to doing the album, Bob kept going, going to use a Fairlight though, aren't we? And Nick's going, oh yes. And then he said, well, do you know anyone who's got a Fairlight? And we went, no. Well,
Yeah.
David Vorhaus, who's recorded an album called White Noise in 1969. Black sleeve, white fork lightning.
What you're talking about? Yes. Yes. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that album,
Yeah. Yeah.
with the drums and the whimpering woman and the
Yeah.
thing not to do acid to, that album. Well, he did he did that album in 1969 and had done White Noise 2 for Virgin and White Noise 3 for a little label called Pulse, who were in English label. And we knew the name of the studio that he recorded it all in. So I said, well, I'll just phone up the studio and see if we can book some time there. If it's got the Fairlight in it, then we've got a day's studio time. Great. So I found the number in the phone book and phoned up, and this very nice gentleman answered the phone and said, well, yeah, no, well, yeah, and we chatted for about half an hour. And he said, yeah, no, come on down. No, it'd be lovely. I then put the phone down and thought, oh shit, I've just been talking to Dave Forehouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hadn't. Oh, yeah, I hadn't put two and two together and
You
gone.
had made
Actually,
that connection.
I
Yeah.
hadn't made well, I hadn't thought that the studio was just his studio that was in his flat
Yeah.
in Camden
Yeah.
above the record and tape exchange, just by the lock. So yeah, so we went down there, spoke to David. He was lovely. And we spent a day in there doing, or day in his studio, doing synth parts for the album for Sea of Life and
Yeah.
the album and the singles.
Yeah.
I mean a day, I meaning about lunchtime to about 6 in the morning kind of
Right.
day.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, so we got that done. The album was recorded in Alaska Studios in Waterloo, in
Right.
underneath the arches
Right.
at
I have to tell you,
at Waterloo
first time
Station.
I saw Alaska on the Sad Lovers and Giants, I thought,
So
wow, wow, and the
they
state.
went all the way to Alaska.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Why would they record in Alaska? Okay, that's weird.
Nick always said that he made a point of saying it was recorded in Alaska
Yeah,
rather than
right.
at Alaska
At
because then it
Alaska.
sounded more interesting.
Right, right.
But you couldn't do vocals during the day or in the early evening. You had to wait till the train stopped going over. So
Yeah.
about 1 o'clock in the morning, you could then do the vocals.
Oh, you had to wait till then.
Yeah, because even though it was a suspended room inside a space, the
Yeah.
vibrations, you could still hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the trains going over.
Right. Well, I wanted to go back to the first single, New Age. A great start for the band, and it's still my
Mm,
favorite. Still my favorite song. Still my favorite track. Yeah.
yeah,
Sonner's vocals remind me, and maybe you've heard this before, a little of Jim Reed, Jesus and Mary Chain.
that's interesting. That's interesting because yeah, Jim Reed's not a singer either, is he?
Hey, hey,
Um,
don't tell
no, it's
don't tell
it's it.
Sonner. Don't
No,
tell
no,
him.
no.
Yeah.
But no, but that's interesting because it's interesting that you mentioned the Mary Chain because we'd been writing these songs and it was sort of the Mary Chain came along and just scared. I mean, in London, just scared everybody.
Yeah.
It was like suddenly there was a real paradigm shift of
Yeah.
like, what's this? You know, we all felt. I mean, I felt that sort of everybody else was a bit twee and a bit soft and a bit gentle because Mary Chain came and just swept that away. I remember having none of that nonsense. We're making this noise.
Yeah.
With a glorious sort of mixture of sort of squealing feedback and Beach Boys and sort of
Yeah.
surf music. It was just
Yeah.
what
Right.
was that?
Right.
It was
Exactly.
great.
Right.
But
I
no,
mean,
no, that's interesting.
bare bones pop songs. They're pop songs, but then they have
Yeah,
all that feedback, like you
yeah.
said.
There's a lovely simple song in the middle there,
That's
but
right.
it's just layers of
Yeah.
squeal and filth over the top of it. It's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
Although I always preferred their second album, Darklands. I
Oh,
still listen to
yeah.
Darklands.
Yeah.
Such a good album,
It is. It's
where they calm down a little bit.
yes. Yes.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. Well,
my friend Graham, who was a photographer, did some shots for us. Um, has got photographs of a riot at a Mary Chain gig.
yeah.
He was there
Yeah.
working, doing photographs, and yeah,
Right.
just the
Right.
stuff getting just whole
Yeah.
place just getting
Right.
trashed.
Right.
That's
And
scary.
like their gigs were like 20 minutes long
Yeah,
or something like that.
absolutely.
And they played with their backs to the
Yeah,
audience.
yeah. It's
All of
just
those things.
contempt. It's just utter contempt for
they were
everything.
they were dripping with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I do remember being in. I mean, it couldn't have been the Mary Chain. It must have been My Bloody Valentine, I think. Who I remember coming out of Studio One in Alaska, which was, I mean, it was a dingy studio. You know, I mean, proper sort of damp, kind of under the arches. And we were coming out about 1 o'clock in the morning to finish, and there were four like young blokes sitting with their backs to the wall and their knees up and their fringes like that, not saying hello to anybody, just sullen.
Yes.
And they were coming in to do their first single. And I'm sure the four of them, I'm sure that was My Bloody Valentine. I don't know. I mean, for a while I thought it was a Mary Chain because they were recording. I think they used Alaska for some stuff as well, um, early on. But
Did they? Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I think they did.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just, but it was, you know, there were just interesting bands there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I came to discover you guys through Midnight. Sad
Mm.
Lovers and Giants, one of my favorite bands.
Hmm.
Also, Cindy Talk, Snake
Yeah.
Core, which who borrowed or one of the guitarists from Sad
Was it
Lovers.
Tristan? Yeah.
Tristan
Tristan
Garrel
Garrel Funk. Yeah.
went into
Yeah.
there,
Yeah. That
and
was when
then
they split up. Yeah.
yeah, and then the Essence. Are you familiar with the Essence?
I did some recording with the Essence.
It's great.
Yeah. Well,
With
I
with
engineered.
Hans Diener. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
they're lovely. They're really nice guys. They
yeah,
came over and a Mirage. I
yes,
engineered.
yes, yes.
I did the. What was it? Nick and I cut in and did the 12-inch mix of that when I was engineering with them. So there's a big chunk in the middle of the 12-inch version of a Mirage, which was got re-recorded and we mucked around with the middle of it. And then I started on the album after that. Did the backing tracks, which I think was at Berry Street Studios
Okay.
in Clerkenwell,
Yeah.
which Midnight bought, Nick bought um, his own recording studio rather than keep using Alaska
Right.
or
Right.
using the greenhouse, which he
Yeah.
used
I, I
a lot.
visited with Hans Diener. I visited with him. God, it's been
Hmm.
2 or 3 years now. Yeah, really.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, and you know, you can hear it because of his vocals and the style. the Cure. I mean,
Oh,
and
God,
it's
yeah.
unfortunate that they were compared too much, I think, to the Cure, because they have their own style and they have their own songs, and I mean, he's a
Yeah, although I mean, yeah, although I mean, damn, they did sound like the Cure.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I mean, there were lots of bands that wanted to sound like the Cure in the mid
yeah,
'80s, mid late '80s,
yeah, right,
and the Essence did it probably better than most.
right,
Um, but yeah,
yeah,
they were lovely.
yeah.
They
Oh
were
well,
really
that's
nice
it's
guys.
good. You had some work there with them as well, connection.
Yeah, no, I did a bit. Yeah, I did a bit with the Essence. They were really
Oh, okay,
sweet.
okay,
I mean, I didn't do much. I mean, I did the Sad Lovers and Giants album,
yeah,
Mirror Test.
okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
that was my sort of baptism of fire at doing engineering. That was just Nick and I.
Okay. Before we talk
Um,
about that, I wanted to about
oh
the
yeah,
album itself. I wanted to mention my picks and maybe get your history or the
yeah, okay.
story behind the song. If you could, "Falling in Love Again." Uh,
I just it was us trying to write a pop song.
okay.
Um, I mean, as a I mean, I mean, so the songs were just kind of just somebody had come up with an idea and we just sort of fall in a sort of musical idea. And so, and then we just fall in with it and write it on the evening. There was very little depth to our thought processes, mainly due to the smells that were coming out of the bedroom, really. It was like, oh yeah, that's nice. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. You know.
Uh,
But yeah,
well,
I mean, Falling in Love Again was one of the sort of lighter songs on the album, one of the
yeah,
lighter songs we did.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it was.
Okay.
I
Well,
haven't
that's
got
good.
much to remember about that.
That's all right. Well, maybe you won't remember much
I
about
don't
any of
remember much about most of them. No, no, I see a pattern forming here.
right.
But carry on.
Right, right, right. Well, I know, doing those, what we're talking about, referring to here back in the day myself, my memory is not what it should be, but
It
I'm
was
still,
40 years ago after all.
yeah, right. And I'm still hanging on to those brain cells. I'm trying to these days.
That's why I've got headphones on to stop them falling out.
There you go. They can't come out through your
No,
ears.
exactly. Only problem is I keep opening my mouth.
Right. Oh, yeah.
There they go.
What's your nose? You might want to plug
Yeah,
that
exactly. Oh no, that's had enough of a pasting over
Oh,
the years. Yeah, no.
all right.
Um,
Well, you mentioned Sheep's Head Bay, that one of the older songs, one of the very,
that was the first song that Sudden Afternoon did. Sheepshead Bay, just next to Rockaway Beach,
yeah.
in New York. Cliff came back from there. There were different lyrics on that originally. There
Oh,
was some
were
less kind of, yeah, you couldn't write songs and mention White Powder beginning with C in songs in 1984. It was too uncool,
yeah.
especially not by name. So we had to change some of the lyrics around.
Ah,
But yeah, it was a good song. Um, in fact, I still use that bass riff as a sort of a warm up. That's a diddle 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 thing because it's all round the one
yeah,
shape, but it just gets fingers working.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
still find myself playing that occasionally. Going, bloody hell, I can still bloody hell, what's that? I can't remember. It's kind of ingrained. This hand can still play it. Yeah.
There you
But
go.
yeah, there was. There was. What was the Apollo, which was on the first EP, Industry and Nature EP, I
Yeah,
think.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that had a. That's one of my abiding memories of that was on the first day in the studio. We all turned up at Alaska, and there was just three of us left: Bob, Nick, and I, and everyone else had gone home. And Nick said, "Oh, do you want to do the bass intro for that? Because it's so different to the rest of the song. Do you want to just record that as one part, and then we can put the rest of the song on afterwards?" I went, yeah, okay. So he said, "So how did you do it?" I went, "Right, well, I just got a bass and I put an echo, as much echo as I could." And he went, "Right." And in the studio, there was a rack of echoes. It was AMSs and Ursa Majors and just these big 80s things. So we just wound them all up, turned them all up full, patched it. And I was sitting there playing it, going, "Yeah, sounds nice." And Nick said, you know that there's a Studio 2 next door, that they've got a whole other set of the same the same rack equipment. Have we? We went in the studio to stole all the effects
You
units
did.
out and piled them up on chairs.
Yeah.
I must have gone through about 15, 14, 15 effects, rack effects with the
Yeah.
bass on that. It was ridiculous, but we were just going more echo, more reverb, put more on. And so the bass just these washes of bass. And I remember Nick saying to me, he said, I sort of saw the look on your face that day when you were doing that. And he went, "You're going to enjoy recording."
Yeah. Right.
Sure enough. It's like,
You're a kid in a candy shop.
I've come home. It's like, this is what I want to do.
Right.
It's, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving, guys. I'm just going to stay here, all right?
Stay right here
Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
Forever. Yeah.
I'm not, yeah, going nowhere. But yeah, but generally, I mean, the album was sort of, I mean, was originally with another drummer. There was a friend of ours, Will, who came in to help us because originally we had the drum machine and we felt we had to have a drummer if we were going to be a band. And so Will came in and drummed and recorded a lot of the tracks, or recorded versions of lots of the tracks, and then left fairly unceremoniously. Sorry, Will, um, and left us in a bit of the lurch because there was still some recording to do. So we went back to a drum machine. Um, so we went to a Lin 2 drum machine, which was dead sexy at the time. And I think that the Lin 2 is still on New Age. That's a Lin. Um, and we recorded drum parts, we programmed all the drum parts for that, for the album. And then re-recorded them. And then Len, who was William's drum tutor, said, it was a friend's, we said, "Do you want to come in and do them?" So he went, yeah. So he came in and we wiped off the drum machine tracks and he played drums after everything had been recorded.
Okay.
I'm
So
amazed how drummers can do that
yeah,
because you're supposed to be driving the band. We're supposed to be following you.
yeah, yes.
How do you do that? But he did it. I'm
Right.
just
So
still in awe of him.
you didn't happen to borrow Dr. Avalanche from Sisters of Mercy.
No. God, I loved the Sisters of Mercy at the time.
Yeah,
I thought they were just the coolest band.
yeah,
I
yeah.
saw them a couple of times at the Lyceum and they were
Right.
just, well, see them. There was
Yeah.
just smoke with the
Yeah.
occasional shadow that came out and went back in again, you know.
Right, right. All the
That
effects.
was all
Yeah,
you
the
ever
smoke
saw.
machines.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you never actually saw the Sisters of Mercy. You just got
Uh,
covered in their smoke.
yeah,
They
yeah,
were great.
and the mission as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the mission, by the time the mission came around, I was waning a bit.
Yeah.
I liked them. I liked the, I like the Sisterhood album, the one that no one likes. The one that Andrew Eldridge put out to stop the mission using the Sisterhood as a name.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
so bitchy, such a
Uh,
bitchy band.
yeah.
Um, but I really like it, and it's a kind of a real throwaway album.
Right.
But I remember liking it at the time, and I still play it occasionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, those
Yeah.
early Sisters of Mercy 12 inches were great,
Yeah.
so good.
Weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're the images and on the cover, what they did, was very iconic, for that time period, especially.
There have been, I mean, we've had arguments amongst friends sitting around saying they should have stayed a covers band
Yeah.
because they did so many good covers.
Yeah.
I mean, and listening to bootlegs of live gigs and doing sort of Sister Ray and Ghost
Yeah.
Rider by Suicide
Oh, right. Yeah.
and Knocking on Heaven's Door, and I think I've got a bootleg of them doing Stairway to Heaven
Yeah.
somewhere. I was like, God
Right.
knows how. But then Gimme Shelter and
Oh,
Jolene and Emma, and they're
yeah.
just great songs that they just turn and do their own way.
Yeah. They did. They did.
Yeah,
Well,
sign of a good cover.
right. Well, three more tracks from the album.
Mhm.
Acid Rain, I like.
The single, our hit.
There you go. I hit it. Yeah. On the hit. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that got, yeah. I mean, that was just another, again, a sort of, another song. But that got picked up. John Peel played it a few times.
Kitty.
And Andy Kershaw was another
Yeah.
Radio 1 DJ. Unfortunately, considered a little less cooler than John Peel. Andy Kershaw got into a bit of trouble later.
Um,
Not sort of, I think he was stalking his ex-girlfriend. Anyway, it was kind of a bit sleazy. And so you can't really go, oh yeah, I did an Andy Kershaw session, you know.
yeah, you don't want to drop that name. No,
Yeah.
no.
So we always say we did a BBC session.
Oh, all right, all
See,
right.
that gets round it, and then they go, "Oh, John Peel." Go, "Oh no, no,
No,
it was Andy
it was
Kershaw.
somebody
Sorry,
other guy. I forget his
yeah,
name.
it was some other bloke. I don't know." And I remember thinking, "So how have they got the record? How's he got it?" And we found out later that Andy Kershaw and John Peel and John Waters all shared an office at the BBC, had a big table in the middle just with records on, and they'd be passing records backwards and forwards. So they were playing the same copies.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, John Peel played us a few times, which was nice. Always nice. It's very weird hearing yourself on the radio. Really,
I imagine so. Yeah,
just odd.
yeah,
And then we did the Andy Kershaw session.
yeah,
That was probably the time when we felt the most like a band because we'd rehearsed the 4 songs up that we did in the session,
yeah.
and then went to Manchester in a van. It was all, it was all a bit rock and roll. And recorded in Yellow 2 studio in Stockport, and then went back up the following week and mixed the album at BBC Studios in Manchester. It was silly because uh, if you did a John Peel session at the time, you did it in Maida Vale in London, in the BBC studios there. But if you did an Andrew Kershaw session, you did it in Manchester. So all the Manchester bands had to come down to London to do Peel sessions, and all the London bands had to go up to Manchester to do. I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
why can't we just use Maida Vale just around the corner? You know?
Right, right.
No, you've got to go to Manchester.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fair enough.
I talked to someone not long ago who had a ride with John Peel. You know, a lot of the musicians that did Peel sessions never
Mm,
got to actually meet him. But
no,
he was in the car with him, and she said, yeah, it was just full of tapes, cassettes. In his
yeah,
car. Yeah, just overflowing with cassettes.
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
yeah, Nick, who ran Midnight, used to drive around in a rusty yellow transit van, Ford
yeah,
transit van. And it had 2 rows of seats because it had been a band van where, so you put the gear in the back and there was still a sort of a second row for people. But in the back of the van was just cassettes where he'd play it. It was a box of there was a box on the passenger seat, and he'd put the cassettes in. And if you got to the end and he hadn't really noticed it, eject, threw it in
yeah.
the back of the van, grab another one, put it in. And so occasionally he'd sort of empty out the back of the van with all the cassettes.
Right.
God knows what was in there. God knows what he turned his back on.
Yeah.
It's probably some great
Well,
bands.
right. What was growing in there? What was? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, no, well, yes, yeah, we probably best not look too closely in the corners. Um,
Well, well, a couple more tracks.
mhm.
The Truth, a little more poppy, but a nice track.
Yes,
That one.
yeah, we tried. Yeah, the truth was the only first thing I remember about the truth was that was a bass line that Nick told me to redo. And it was only because I came very much from the sort of punk aesthetic of playing eights, playing go dagga 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 dagga. And he said, don't try breaking up the bass line and doing a sort of, and it
Yeah,
did it. So it helped it sort of lifted it a bit and made it less of monotone and actually made it a bit lighter and a bit poppier. So
yeah.
that was Nick's fault that became a bit poppier.
It was his fault. Blame him.
Yeah,
And then,
absolutely,
and then Drift
absolutely.
Away. Drift Away. Nice melodic guitar and
Oh God, yeah.
pretty track. That's a pretty track. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, Drift Away. Christ, yeah. I was thinking about that recently. Because yeah. Ugh. When so my dad was very ill. My dad had his pancreas packed up like that and just he was in intensive care. And I remember mum saying to me that dad liked that track. And so and he was in a coma, he was in a coma. And I did a cassette and put that and of stuff that he liked and put that on, and that was constantly playing when we went to see him in the hospital. There's a there's a story. But yeah, I mean, he came round and he was all right afterwards, and he sort of professed not to remember liking it at all.
But he
So,
was,
he said, I don't remember saying I liked that. It's all right, I suppose.
uh, well,
Yeah,
nice. He survived that.
yeah, amazingly so. Yeah, amazingly so. With impressive scarring to his front,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
he used to tell his grandchildren is where he got bitten by a shark, But it was just his huge
yeah.
scarring.
Or here's my old war wound. Yeah, showing you
Yeah,
here.
exactly. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. That was because his belly and it just
Right.
was a complete mess of
Yeah.
sort of lumps and bumps and holes and scars and stuff where they'd just gone in the way that
Oh,
they had to.
oh yes.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I counted 12 things he was connected to at one point.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
thought, fuck that. But yeah, Drift Away is really nice. I think that whatever was smelling must have been stronger that day when when when
Yeah.
we recorded that.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Well, how was the album received? Were there any
absolutely. Well, either ignored completely, or there was a review by the Stud Brothers, who were notorious at the time. They were a melody maker, um, and they used to just specialize in slagging off records
oh,
mercilessly. And so we got slagged off by there were two quotes that I can still remember. I'm not saying that they hurt or anything,
yeah,
but
yeah.
40 years later I can still remember them.
Uh,
One of them was these men are hobbyists, don't let them detain you for a moment.
oh, is that
Ouch.
it?
And the other one was it sounded like Ultravox playing Saints and Lurkers B-sides.
Wow. Okay. I don't
So
hear that. I
well
really
at the time, it's probably because it was quite a sort of big production, and this was
yeah,
not Ultravox with John Fox, but later Ultravox with Midure, so it was quite sort of big
yeah,
and the songs were quite simple. And
yeah.
so in '85, you couldn't think of anything worse than being sort of told that you sounded like the Lurkers or
Yeah,
the Saints, a
right.
band that I've loved since I heard in
Oh, yes.
1976,
Oh,
77,
yeah.
whatever. But yeah,
Speaking of Aussie bands, yeah. Oh, yeah.
another Aussie band that I
Yeah.
just have a real passion for.
Yeah.
Still do. Still
Okay.
love Aussie bands.
Oh, I wanted to hold up. I forgot to hold it up. I should have
There
before
it
you started
is.
talking about it. I still have my vinyl. There we go.
Excellent.
I
Yeah.
don't pull it back a little bit. There we go. So get the whole
Yeah.
now is that Mayan or Aztec?
It is. Yeah, it's mine. It's the
Mayan.
yeah. And they were drawn by Bob.
Is that
Um,
right? Okay.
yeah. Yeah, that was drawn by yeah.
Has he gone on to a career in art or
He did book jacket designs for a long time.
okay. Okay.
He was a really early adopter of Photoshop.
Okay.
And used to do book jacket designs for HarperCollins,
Oh,
a lot of the publishers, and but he's moved up to Scotland, and I'm not sure what he's doing really. Sort of trying to keep warm, I think,
okay. All right.
building up
Well,
a
what did
studio.
the
Yeah, just
what
building
did
up a
the other
studio.
guys? Well, before we
Hmm.
talk about Post, what about talk a little bit about the side project, the Beyond, and how long that you guys were
That
together.
was well, it was just a sort of a single. It was a single idea, really. Bob and I had been annoying Nick, the guy who ran the record label, with demo tapes.
Yeah.
Nick had made the mistake of saying that he listened to every demo that came in. So Bob and I went, right, we're going to send you some stuff then, and we just used to send him cassettes without any name on or anything really, just weird ambient noodlings. And we convinced Nick that it would be a good idea for him to be in a band. So Nick and Bob and I were the Beyond. There was the three of us. And it was recorded round at Bob's girlfriend's parents' house, which was a very large house in a very nice area of northeast London. There was a baby grand piano in the corner of the room. There was French windows that opened out onto a large garden. Sofa in front of the French windows. We set up the mixing desk in front and just scrounged as many musical instruments and toys and synths as we could find and just spread them out. And we recorded it in a week. We recorded it in a week, working sort of middle of the afternoon through till sun coming up. Nick would then go when the sun came up. Ab would go and make us breakfast, and Bob and Bob and I'd go out in the garden and play croquet. It's ridiculous,
Yeah, yes, I did
ridiculous
see
sort
that.
of
I did
yeah,
see that. You
yeah.
playing
It's just
croquet.
yeah, it's just a sort of ridiculous sort of way of living. So we'd play croquet at 5 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
come in, have some breakfast, and go to bed. Wake
yeah,
up, do it again the following day, and it
yeah.
was just all improvised instrumentals. Which and then once we'd done the album, we didn't know what to do with it because it wasn't anything. I mean, the ambient house stuff hadn't started.
Yeah, right.
Even even here, it hadn't really started until a sort of year or so later, or, or maybe 2 years later. Um, we sent it off to a couple of places, um, and I guess my one regret, my one musical regret was that there was a track on the beginning, which has just got sequential circuits, Prophet 5, has got this resonance boing sound that goes on for a bit. And that got used 2 weeks running on the BBC for Tomorrow's World, which
Oh,
was the coolest program,
yeah.
science program that was on before Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
And yeah, we went, oh wow, that's really cool.
How did they get a copy of that? How
But
did
I
they
have no idea.
yeah. Wow.
I'm still no idea. Presumably Nick sent it to the BBC, and the BBC someone listened to it and went, bloody hell, what the hell's that? Yeah, it sounds a bit kind of science fiction. Let's send it
Yeah.
to somewhere. And but it was yeah, but it got used twice. And what did we do? Did we follow it up and use that as a way of pushing open the doors to
Yeah.
get in there and do more? No, we just sat there and went, oh, that's cool. Oh, it's really good. Look, we got
Yeah.
used for yeah. Look, we got used for Tomorrow's World.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that cool?
Yeah.
Um, in hindsight, I guess that should have been the that should have been
Yeah.
the reason for us to have gone right, right. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Music, television music, film music,
Yeah.
soundtracks.
Move
This is what we
into
want to do.
yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
No, we
Yeah.
didn't. No,
Yeah.
sadly.
Right.
But yeah, and that album was yeah, it was just. I mean, no one was supposed to know it was Nick for some reason. I think it's fairly safe to say now that
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine,
Yeah.
Nick.
Right.
No one really cares anymore.
Right. Right. It's safe. It's safe. It's safe.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
absolutely.
You can
And
come
so
out.
yeah,
You can come out of hiding.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
In fact, we did some promo photos. Um, Actually, I don't know if I know I've tied it up. They aren't here. We need a sort of glossy 8x10 to go off with a promo pack for Beyond, and we did, and we hit upon the idea. It was Bob and Graham again, a friend who's a photographer, hit upon this idea of having pictures of three vegetables with faces on, and that would be the promo.
Uh-huh.
That would be the picture.
Yeah.
The only problem was that the potato looked so much like Nick that we couldn't possibly use it because if you knew Nick, you go, that's Nick. That's ridiculous. It was just meh. Yeah, they were in a sort of a vegetable patch.
Okay.
And there was like these three vegetables
Nick,
with sort of
uh,
with sort of googly eyes on
Nick,
and a sort of
Nick,
smiley faces.
you're right, Nick, Mr. Potato Head.
But he was Mr. Potato Head, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, sorry, Nick. Yeah. But yeah, yeah, we couldn't use those. And
Yeah.
so in the end we used it was a picture that Nick took in Spain when he was over there with Sad Lovers and Giants of three old men on a bench,
Oh,
just
right.
sort of chatted on
Yeah.
sort of
We'll
in the road.
talk about working on the Mirror Test, the album. Yeah.
Mm. I played bass on a couple of the tracks.
Oh, right.
I can't remember which ones though.
Yeah.
Hang on, Summer and Smoke.
Summer and Smoke.
I
Okay.
played bass on Summer and Smoke, and I played bass on something else. I'd have to listen to it again and go, I think that's me. But yeah, I think that was one of the reasons why they wanted me to engineer it was because I sort of because the bass player was very young
Yeah.
and very new and very inexperienced, and they didn't know how he was going to be in the studio, and so
Right.
there was some. So if there was a problem, then I could sort of go, shall I do a bit? And I did a little bit. There was one song that yes, yeah, there's one song that he didn't like playing, and I think it was Summer and Smoke. I must admit, I didn't like playing it either. It was
Yeah,
impossible. It wasn't my
yeah,
kind of thing at all. It's got this sort of walking, sort of finger playing thing, which I never played with fingers.
yeah.
It was sort of almost a jazzy kind of thing. It was weird. But yeah, and the drums on that track were recorded one drum at a time to get complete separation. So
Oh,
he'd
with the
so the
record.
drummer would record the kick, and then we'd play it through, and he'd play the snare, and
Yeah.
then he'd play the hi-hats, just the hi-hats, and just the cymbal. I don't quite know what the idea of that sort of behind that was, um, but that's what they did, and
Yeah.
it's always sounded a little bit. It's always sounded disjointed to me. But I think that's probably because I know that.
You know it, right?
You know
Yep.
how
Yep.
if you know the story
Yep.
behind the recording of it, you go,
Right.
yeah, I'm sure I can tell that. I'm sure it.
Yeah.
The rest of the world wouldn't know or care,
No, the listener wouldn't know. No, no.
but me, oh, yeah, just
Yeah.
you know.
I've always been a fan of. I got "Feeding the Flame," which was the '83 album.
Mm,
That was the first one I got,
yeah.
and I'd heard those on a couple of tracks on a local station. That played
Mhm.
import. But either that album or the Mirror Test is my favorite of theirs. Yeah, it's right up there. Those two albums.
Yeah.
For,
I mean,
for
listening back to it, I mean, I was listening to it today just because I
oh,
hadn't played it for ages.
is it?
And I was just, this sounds really nice.
Yeah,
Sounds like a really nice album. It doesn't sound overly 80s either, which is quite
right,
nice. There's a
right.
lot of stuff in the 80s you hear, and it's got that crashing gated reverb on the snares, and
Oh,
it's
right,
all
right.
really fizzy top end where
Yes,
we'd
yeah,
used where everyone used Aphex Aura exciters to kind of
yes,
crunch the top end.
right, right. Yeah,
But it doesn't sound like that. It sounds
yeah.
sounds
I
sounds
did.
nice.
I did a written interview with Cars.
Hmm.
This has been many years ago, I
Yeah.
think. But he didn't want to do a video interview, so I was like, okay,
Oh,
okay, that's fine. That would have been nice too. Yeah,
no, he's lovely.
yeah,
He's a lovely guy.
yeah.
He was really sweet in the recording. I I can't remember which song it was, but I remember Nick wasn't around one night, and it was just Gas and I, and he was having to do his vocals. And I think I'd listened to Shriek back before,
Oh,
and
okay.
that almost whispered vocals. And I
Yes,
thought,
right, right.
it'd be great. It was the song that we were working on, and I said, why don't we try it like this?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Gas was, yeah, okay.
yeah,
So we recorded this vocal track, and it took a couple of hours, and it was really whispered, and so it was really close and intimate.
yeah.
Nick came in and said, "Oh, so what have you been doing?" We played it in. No, that doesn't sound like Sad Lovers and Giants. You've got to get rid of that. Oh, okay. Well, sorry, Gas. He went, well, it's okay. Yeah, nah, it's okay. That's the way it goes. And they recorded the vocals again. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
I had this idea because I really liked it because it was quite an intimate little song. Can't
right.
remember which one it was. It wasn't Summer and Smoke,
Well,
but it was
well,
really close.
see if it's
It,
one of my favorites. I'll mention Seven Kinds of Sin is one that I like.
yeah.
The Green Years. A Map of My World is a little more upbeat. That one, and then House of Clouds. House of Clouds may be my favorite. Yeah, off of that one.
Then it's been so.
Yeah.
I, it's interesting. I was listening to the first track on the CD, which is see, I don't remember the names of any of them. Hours to Kill,
Okay. Okay. Right.
just the instrumental.
Intro. Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and I listened to it this afternoon, and I could remember
Yeah.
every. Oh, that's coming in now.
Yeah.
Bit of backwards guitar. You get brum,
Yeah.
and the backwards guitar comes in,
Yeah.
and I thought I haven't heard this for
Right.
possibly 10 years.
Right.
Hadn't heard it then 10 years before that almost. It's just
Yeah.
because when was it 86, I think.
Yeah. 87. I
Um
think it came out in 80.
87.
Yeah.
And I'd been sort of so I'd been, I mean at the time I was just immersed in the sound of it
Yeah.
completely to the point where I'd be coming home
Yeah.
and laying in bed trying to get to sleep and all I could hear is that kick
Right.
just
Yeah.
going. Can't get to
Yeah.
sleep. All I can hear is that bloody kick going.
Uh-huh.
Um and so it was just so you are so immersed in it. And actually listening back to it now, I go, oh no, I remember that arrangement. But I couldn't have told you I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Hearing it, I go,
Right.
oh yeah, and there's that little piano little part. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's good you listened to it earlier.
Yeah.
Refresh your memory a little. Well, how about the Chameleons? Uh, they, along with Sad Lovers and Giants, were like two I was heavily into during the
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I met, was it Mark from the Chameleons?
Mark Burgess.
Yeah, I met him once at a pub when I was with Nick. I didn't really, yeah, then they're not really a band that I've sort of listened to much or can, I don't think I listened to at the time. I was aware of them, but
Yeah.
um, by the time I came out from Sudden Afternoon and especially after sort of doing the Sad Loves and Giants album, I was kind of listening to
Okay. Yeah.
more electronic stuff, and
Right.
then come Acid House
Yeah.
and the joys that that brought. For the next 15 years, I hardly listened to anything with vocals or a guitar.
Yeah.
And it was only about because then my friend Mark was putting on a gig at Spitalfields in central London. And he said, "Oh, we're doing a gig with Damo Suzuki. I'm trying to get a gig together with Damo Suzuki from Cannes."
Yeah.
I was like, "Really? Oh, well, that's rather interesting. How do you do that?" And the deal was that you got in contact with him by email and said, "Hi, let's put on a gig. When are you next in London?" And
Yeah.
he'd say, "I'm in London sort of middle of sort of July next year." And he'd go, "Fine, we'll book up a gig. Do you want to do it?" And he would, "Yes."
Yeah.
And so he'd just come along and just sing over whatever band was there. And so he said, Mark said, "So are you interested in doing the gig with Damo?" So I said, "Yeah, of course. What do you want me to do?" And he said, "Well, I want you to play bass." And I said, "Oh." I hadn't played bass for 15 years.
Wow.
I'd just been doing synths, doing engineering. And he said, "You have still got one?" I said, yeah, I've got a bass. It's under the bed, I think. Sure enough, it was still under the bed, but it didn't have a strap. It needed a setup. And so I got back into playing bass. And then actually in that lineup of the gig was David Vorhaus. We got David Vorhaus to come
Oh,
down and play as
you,
well.
you
So it was
did.
Damo Suzuki, so it was Can and White Noise on stage together. And I was on the stage. I was just, oh, I was such a fanboy. It was just painful. Um,
Yeah.
and then my girlfriend at the time, who's since foolish enough to become my wife for 20 odd years, said, "Why don't you get a little band together?" Okay, I suppose so. And I started the Outbursts, which is the band I'm in now, which is just kind of a rather silly punk band.
Yeah. How long together? How long are you guys together? When did you start the
Oh,
Outburst?
what the Outbursts 2007?
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, 2007.
Wow.
With me and the original guitarist and the drummer. We got the drummer in. He came for one rehearsal and then said, "Oh, I've got a gig with my other band on Friday. Do you want to come along and do a couple of songs?"
Yeah.
So we said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
okay." So completely under rehearsed. We did, I think, 3 songs,
Yeah.
and then apologised and sort of got off stage because none of us were singers,
Okay.
although we tried. And then yeah, then we got a singer in. Um, Somebody that Mark, the drummer, had met in a tent in Glastonbury.
Okay.
Yeah. And he'd said, "Oh, he always fancied singing in a band, so well, come on then,
Yeah.
come and join us then." So he did, and
But
yeah, we've been going for years. It's
his vocals are passable, huh?
Yeah, he's a good front man.
Okay.
He enjoys the assistance of a bit of um, was it Melodyne or whatever it is to
Right, right.
you know,
Many
doesn't do any
do.
harm. Yeah.
Many, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
I think he did. I mean, I remember him saying he did go to a sort of vocal coach because
Okay.
he's yeah, and they said, "Well, I can teach you breathing, but I'm not sure I can do. I'm not sure I could be much more help." So, but he's great. I mean, he's a
Yeah,
great front man, great, visual,
right, right.
visually quite sort of engaging.
Yeah. Well, how about
Um,
recordings? You guys have recordings?
yeah, we've got a couple of albums. We did a just just to be contrary.
Yeah.
We can't help it. We've put our first EP out on cassette when no one was releasing anything on cassette, called Cliff Richard Fingered My Mum. Um, and then, yeah, it's a tasteless little thing. Um,
Oh,
and
you meant he picked her out of a lineup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's what.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hold on a minute. Let's see if I've got a copy down here somewhere.
yeah.
Um,
You do.
you're gonna have to, yeah. No. Oh, I think I've got a, I think I've got a CD of it. Hang on. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's Cliff Richard fingered my mum, EP,
Cliff Richard's fingers there.
and that is actually Cliff Richard's finger. Yeah. I don't know where we got that picture from. We did.
Yeah, and
Um,
he's never washed his finger to this day.
no, absolutely. He'd look at the look on his face though. He looks so aggressive. And then we did an album. We recorded an album called Deeply Superficial. And then a third album, Alien Bra,
Oh,
which is yeah. And we're working on a new album, which at the moment is going to be called I Know That Now. Um,
all right, all right.
um,
Well, when we talked, I know you knew I was interested in Sudden Afternoon, but
mm.
you should have, mentioned this band, and I said, yeah, I have a lot to talk about, so maybe I could have done a little more research in
That's all
that
right.
area.
Well, I'm always surprised that anyone's interested in anything that I do, really. The rest of the family are sort of quite dismissive of what I do. They go,
Is
oh
that
yeah,
right?
no, oh,
Is
it's
that
Matt,
right?
it's all right. Just let him get on with it. It'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, yeah, he's right.
So Matt Toddles often does a gig or comes
Yeah,
back and does some recording, come
right,
back,
right. Yeah,
and they go,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
was it good? Oh yeah, it's fine.
right,
Oh, good, right, okay. No, I don't want to
right.
know about it. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
love.
yeah. Let him have his way now because we'll have to pick his home. In a few years we'll have
Yeah,
to.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Just let him
yeah,
have his
yeah, yeah. Go on, yeah, off you go.
way. That's funny. Well,
Uh,
well. Do you have kids? Do you have kids?
Got one son. Started very late. He's 19. He's at university studying computer science and electronics.
Okay. Has
Hopefully, will earn lots of money in the future and look after me in my retirement.
has he listened to any of your material? Sudden Afternoon, any?
Yeah, not any sudden after. In fact, I was playing. I was only playing. I found a CD of some demos for the proposed second album that never came out.
Yeah.
There's a sleeve that somebody did.
Ah, okay.
Actually, I was actually. I mean, I'll send you. I mean, I'll send. I mean, I'll send. I mean, I'll send you MP3s of it.
Oh, that'd be,
And
that'd
the
be great.
Radio One. I think it says I've got the Andy Kershaw session here as well.
Oh,
So
that'd
yeah,
be
I'll send you
okay.
MP3s. And I was playing that, and I sort of said to Tom, "Yeah, this is my old band." He went, "Yeah, sounds all right." He's into hip hop. Um,
Yes, yes. My,
so this is all a
my
bit old and
yeah,
boring.
my my
He,
son's the same age, and I was real cautious about forcing anything on him.
mm,
Listen to this. I did that to my brother. I worked my brother. My brother's 6 years younger, so when I was in my 20s, still living at home, and I would say, "Come in here, John," and start. I'd like at 10 o'clock at night. I'd say, "Hey,
mm,
listen to this new album I got,"
mm,
and make him sit on the floor and listen to it. And then when I was done, here's another one, and it would be like getting into the late hours or the wee hours in the
mm.
morning. He started to nod off. He started to get sleepy, and I'm like, "No, I got one more for you."
I got one more. Yeah, listen to this.
You're right, right. You got to hear this. And
Yeah,
he, even to this day, he holds that against me. It's like,
yeah.
you know how many hours of sleep I lost when I was younger. You kept forcing me to listen to the music,
Yeah.
but I turned him on to a lot of stuff too.
No, exactly. I mean, when Tom was much younger,
Yeah,
he used to watch Scooby Doo. He loved Scooby Doo, all the old Scooby Doos.
yes, yes.
And I got him into Care Bear Bunch and Wacky Races and
Oh,
all the
wacky
Hanna
race.
Barbera stuff and
Yes,
Tom
yes,
and Jerry.
yeah,
So proper cartoons,
yeah, yes,
that
right.
were drawn rather than these annoying computer ones. And I came home from work, and he sort of came rushing up, going, Daddy, I found this bit of music. Listen to this music. It's brilliant. And I went, oh, okay. And it was on Scooby Doo. I was like, oh, okay. I put it on. And he went, oh, it's here. And then he found the bit on the DVD, I suppose. Press go. And I was like, that's Rockaway Beach by the Ramones.
Ramones, yeah.
My work here is done. He loves Rockaway Beach. Thank you.
Right,
Thanks. Right. I can go now. Job
right,
done.
right, right, exactly.
So
That,
so we were in Sainsbury's, the supermarket, and at the checkout there was the Ramones' greatest hits for a fiver, and I said, "Son, there we are. Buy you
right.
your first CD," and and you still got it. It's like
Yeah,
Ramones' greatest hits. It's got Rockaway Beach on it. Thank you very
right,
much.
right. Yeah.
And he was a bit confused because I said to him, "Oh yeah, well, Daddy's band plays this," because we
Yeah.
covered the old Ramones one song. We don't do Ramones songs at all well. I mean, we can play them; they just don't sound right because it's so iconically recorded and so the arrangements are so tight. And he looked a bit confused because he thought perhaps it was our song for a while, but no, no, it's not. No, it's a band called the Ramones, son. He said, "Oh, that's a really good song." Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I took him to his first gig, which was the Aquabats,
Oh, okay.
who
Yeah.
are a American surf punk band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, gloriously stupid band. They are a bit, yeah, they're sort of surf punk monkeys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of inflatable
Right. I'm.
pizza uh, pizza slices on stage and bouncing. They were great fun. Supporting Bowling for Soup, who were dull. We
Yeah.
left.
I'm not into either one of those. Yeah. I don't.
No, it's the only gig. I think it's the only gig I've actually
No.
walked out and often gone.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Nah, this is
Yeah.
bollocks, man.
Yeah.
This is just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used it as an excuse to say, so Tom was very young, and I said, are you getting tired?" And he went, "I'm a
Right.
bit." "Good, let's go."
Right.
"Are you enjoying this?" He went, "Not really."
Yeah. Yeah.
Aquabats were supporting, and they were great, and that's why we went. And we went, well,
Yeah.
let's stay for the main band. Nah,
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
no, just not really.
Yeah, I let my son comes to me kind of like yours, you know. Hey, Dad, I've heard this band, you know. I don't try to push anything on him, you know.
Mm,
I know he's got his own taste and everything,
mm,
but when he does come to me and it's one that we click on, it's nice. It's nice. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You've
I
got my
mean,
genes. You've actually got my genes. Yeah.
yeah. So you are my son.
Right.
Yeah, I'm so proud. Yeah, I mean, although Tom doesn't listen to the Ramones anymore, he listens to Kendrick Lamar and early Kanye.
Yeah, yeah,
Not late Kanye. He said he gets very stupid. He said, but the early stuff's all right. I don't mind it. But he just takes over the stereo in the car. Suddenly, I'm
yeah.
driving along, going, "What's this?" And he's got Bluetooth to the car. He's playing. I'm like, "What is this?"
Right,
I'm
right,
going, "There's
right.
no melody in it."
Oh, I know.
He's gone, "You're very old, Dad. Stop it."
It's
All right, I'll just drive then. But yeah,
it's that generation gap, big, you know, big time.
but it's the way it should be.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
mean, he was saying that there's a friend of his he went out to the pub with, and of the gang that he went with, one of their dads came along
yeah.
who wanted to like be his son's best mate, and Tom came back to me and said, "I'm really pleased that we aren't like that." You know,
Yeah,
he said, "We do stuff and we
yeah,
enjoy doing stuff together, but you don't want to try and be my mate." And I went, "Well,
yeah,
no, because
right.
I'm your dad.
Yeah, yeah,
You go find your own mates. I've got mine over here. I don't need you to be my mate. I just need you
right,
to enjoy
right.
yourself and have a good life."
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
it was very weird. He came back and went, "No," he said it was really weird. He said, this old bloke just wanted to be one of the gang,
right.
and it was like, it's horrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There are some, you know, that just have never grown up. Really, they just really, you know. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
it's it
it's
is what
terrible
it
to admit that I have grown up.
it
I
is. What it is.
wasn't
Yeah.
banking on doing that today.
I wasn't either. I put it off as long as I could, you know, but eventually you got to face up to it. So,
Yeah,
all right. Okay. Well, Matt, did you, oh,
and cut there.
real quick, real quick. What did the other guys do after, Sudden Afternoon?
Sudden afternoon. Bob carried on doing the Beyond
Yeah.
with some other people. Sonner, I don't really know. He didn't really do much recording. Wasn't in a band again. I've recently met up with Sonner. He came to an Outburst gig, which was really nice to see him. He's looking much older and balder than he ever was. That's funny. You look much. Yeah, I guess I look older as well. That's that. Yeah, it was only 40 years ago. And
Yeah.
Cliff kind of still records and spends some time in the States. He's into sort of Americana
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of. We always teased him that he liked Tom Petty in that sort of dismissive kind of way in the 80s. So,
Right.
you're not,
Right. Right.
yeah, like Tom Petty.
Yeah.
But actually, yeah. So he's sort of doing that kind of stuff. Um, and William, the original drummer, was train driver, and then owns a recording studio, runs a recording studio. Now he's retired. Recording folk rock. Is real love. Friends with Caravan and members of
Oh,
Fairport Convention and all that kind of. So he's
yeah,
got right.
see,
So
I
he's
like
right into that kind of world, and he's
I
loving
like
it.
that. I like that
Yeah, I mean,
material.
he's loving doing that.
Yeah.
And Len was a music teacher at a
Oh,
school that's just
okay.
recently retired. Still playing in bands, still busking, still being an incredibly good drummer. Just such a good drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, his mum used to work for Led Zeppelin. That was very weird when I first met her.
Oh,
She was a secretary at Swan Song.
that's one song. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know much about her really.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it really. Nothing much else to report. We're all toddling along, getting old.
Yeah, getting along in the tooth. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
we are. Yes, we are.
Well, I'm 64 now,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
um, yeah, working for another couple of years, and then photography will take over, I guess,
Oh.
when I can no longer be bothered to stand on a stage with a band anymore. You know,
Right.
um, o-
Right. Right.
yeah, osteoarthritis has attacked one hip,
Oh,
so I'll have to, so
oh. Yeah, that's
it's
that's something to we all have to look forward to. Yeah. So,
absolutely, yeah, no,
yeah.
yeah, I got a report from the doctor, and it said that the osteoarthritis in my right hip is significant. And I went, so whereabouts is that then? So,
Yeah. Show me on a
there's
scale.
like, there's acute and there's chronic. So where's significant in the scale? And he went, well, he said it's getting towards acute. He said it's not chronic because he said well, chronic just means it'll go on forever and won't change. So I said, I suppose it is a chronic condition. He said, but it's no. He said, but yeah, no. He said it's yeah, lose some weight. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then we can have and then we can do the
That's
operation.
that's the cure for everything, isn't
Oh
it?
God,
Lose some weight. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
I tell
Stop eating crisps.
you.
I've stopped drinking beer. I've stopped smoking. I've stopped doing
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please
I did.
allow me.
I did
It,
too. I did too. Many years ago. Yeah. So, but I still put on weight because of the diet. And
yeah.
lack of exercise too. I gotta
Well,
say.
and that's the thing is that I mean, for me recently is that sort of the hip has been sort of painful, so I haven't moved because
Yeah.
it hurts, so I don't move. But I
Right.
still keep eating, and so you put on more weight, so the whole thing sort of
The
snowballs.
whole thing kind of a
So
vicious
they
cycle.
said, well, no, even if it hurts, you've got to exercise, you've got to walk,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's not going to not doing anything isn't is going to make it worse. So okay,
It's not. Well, I wish you.
what a pair of old buggers we
Oh,
have
right.
become.
I wish you could best health in that direction.
Thank you very
So
much. Yeah,
hope it
and
improves
you?
for you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it will once I lose the weight and I have the hip hop, and
All
then I'll be
right.
bouncing around like
Hey, there
bouncing around
you
like a
go.
spring chicken.
There you go.
Um,
All right. I like that. Well, I want to thank you again, Matt,
yeah, it's been a
and
pleasure.
best of luck for you and the Outbursts as well. You know.
Yeah, we've got to finish off the third album. It's kind of almost there. We recorded the last gig, or it was recorded, and we've got the stems of that. So we're sort of trying to make that sound better than it was, and maybe put some live stuff out. It's all on Spotify, on
Sure.
and all of the usual streaming places. And yeah, we should. I'll send you the sudden afternoon stuff.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no problem. I've got your email address, haven't I? I
I
must
believe
have because you
so.
sent me a link.
If not, I'll send it to the
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
Facebook. I'll send it to But say hi to the other guys if you
When I
happen
see them,
to
I will. Yeah, definitely.
run
Okay.
into them.
All right,
All
nice one.
right.
It's been good
All right.
chatting.
All right. It
All
has
right.
been. I enjoyed it,
All
and
right. Cool.
all the best to you. All right.
And you. Man. All right. See you.